Hello, I'm Avery or Hazel or Kylie. You can just pick one, I don't care.
Hello, I am Lily.
And welcome to the From the Closet podcast. Today we are covering Inhumans. Uh, I would say season one, but this show only got one season because it was bad. Um, Obviously, there will be spoilers for Inhumans, and you will find a link in the description below to the Just Watch page for this series, which itself will have links to every platform you can rent, purchase, or stream this series on, with price comparisons for renting and purchasing. You can stream this on Disney Plus if you live in the US. I'm not sure about the rest of the world, although realistically I could check, but that's too much work. But regardless, you can join us next week for our free movie of the month for August and Avengers Infinity War, which is kind of funny because at the time of recording this, we haven't even recorded Black Panther yet. That's the next thing we're recording. But also in the description, you'll find a link to our Patreon where you can vote on future episodes of this show, as well as get access to episodes before they release, as well as early access to episodes of our sister show, Off the Shelf, which is about books. And that podcast is exclusive to YouTube and Patreon. Also in the description, you will find a link to Spotify for podcasters, which is and that page will have links to every platform that our podcast is on, as well as links to our Instagram and Twitter where you can be notified when we release a new episode. Uh, I feel like I'm missing something. Oh, right. If you'd like to support us but can't do so financially, the best way is to listen to the podcast on Spotify. All right. Please get out if you'd like to avoid spoilers, because we're going to start talking about this series now.
Or stay if you want to get the brief summary of what this series is and you don't actually want to watch it yourself.
Yeah, I guess that's a fair thing too, because like I don't know, this isn't the worst thing I've seen out of Marvel, but it's up there.
It's definitely not the best or good.
Oh no. Yeah, it's not even good. All right. Okay. Let's talk about this. All right. You have this Inhuman show, which like briefly references. Okay, it's not even brief. It heavily ties into the fact that like the Inhumans outbreak from Agents of Shield happens. But the problem with like this tie-in is that they don't bring any of the characters from Agents of Shield into this show. And I'm just like, bruh, why the fuck hasn't Shield shown up yet with all these shenanigans going on Earth? Are we meant to believe that this takes place alongside Agents of Shield season 4? Because I guess that would explain it.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that would. All we know is that it takes place after the Terrigen Crystal thing.
Yeah, which was at the end of season 2.
Also, I have a question.
Sure.
So, because what we learned in season 2 of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., those Terrigen crystals kill anyone that is just human.
Yeah, if they touch them, right?
So, wouldn't that mean, like, if the experiment of it importing inhuman genes went wrong, he could have literally died?
No, actually, I don't think so.
Hmm.
Because they talk about how the Inhumans that were living on the moon are kind of different. Um, how like the genetic link or whatever is weaker in the people that live, like the people that live on Earth, and like how their powers are weaker too and everything. Um, so I don't know. I don't think it would have killed him, considering Maximus didn't die from his Terrigenesis the first time.
No, because Maximus's Terrigenesis basically just turned him into a human, right? Like, he was
Yeah, which is
no different
weird.
genetically than an actual human. At least that's what I heard. Er,
Yeah, I don't know. They made it too confusing.
Yeah, and I mean, nothing ended up happening of it anyways, because he never actually got the crystal.
And then he died, probably.
Did he die? I thought he just lived his entire life in purgatory.
I don't know. Maybe either way, he's like stuck on the moon. So even if he lived, there's not really anything he can do.
But he does have all the supplies for an eternity. So, I mean,
Yeah.
he could leave if someone rescued him with a magical dog. That's about it.
Uh, yeah. Lockjaw is kind of cool. I'm not a dog person, but like I knew about Lockjaw from the comics. So I also knew about Medusa and Black Bolt. I wasn't too familiar with the rest of them.
I have a question. Were
Sure.
any of these characters originally Inhumans, or were some of them X-Men?
Um, I know for sure Black Bolt and Medusa. I'm pretty sure both of them are like Inhumans originally. I'm not sure about the others, but I
I
can't
see.
imagine. I don't think any characters were originally like X-Men and then became Inhumans in the in any of the MCU stuff. Like,
Okay, I was just
yeah,
wondering because it would be kind of easy to switch to them if they had to.
yeah. I mean, well, I don't know because like Fox would own the characters.
Oh yeah,
I think the
that
only
even
character that even had something changed was Daisy, and the only reason she had anything changed was because, like in the comics, she was a hybrid. She was both an Inhuman and a mutant. Um,
like oh yeah, wait. You literally said Daisy. I was about like, oh hey, that's just like Daisy.
yeah, no, yeah, definitely. Daisy is in fact just like Daisy. Yeah, but
So
anyway,
that's the only person that they did that to.
I mean, they would later on, after they already got the rights to the X Men, change Miss Marvel from being an Inhuman to being a mutant. But that's it.
Okay.
And I suspect they only changed her to like being a mutant because they didn't want to explain how Inhumans exist to the people that didn't watch Agents of Shield,
I mean, can they just give a brief overview of people,
and also
Terrigen
to
Crystal,
and
Inhuman?
probably also to introduce the concept of the mutants in the first place because there
Okay,
is
that's fair
that.
enough. I mean,
Like,
other than like getting into the deep lore of how like the Inhumans happen, the explanation is literally just one human plus Terrigen Crystal equals Inhuman.
yeah, but it's there's also just the fact that certain in like it's only applicable to a certain small percentage of the population that have like that are descended from humans who were experimented on by the Kree, and you have to explain that the Kree came to Earth, and it's like I don't know, maybe you could get away with doing this in a Marvel Legends episode, but I don't think the hardcore fans aren't watching Legends. Legends is for people who need the recap.
Well, I mean, if they're so hardcore, then they should already be watching Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
I don't know. There's a that's a big ask for a lot of people considering how long Agents of Shield is.
I mean,
But
you can get it done in like a year. Like, if you just pace yourself really well.
I think it's funny because we're actually getting it done in like a year. It's just like the way that year is shaped is kind of weird because like it goes from a point I don't even remember when it was when we started, but like we're covering exactly 12 seasons of stuff if you count Slingshot as a season.
Yeah. But
Actually,
of
no, we're
course,
not. We're
enough
only
of
doing
MCU
11.
stuff. I think we should actually talk about why this show is the way it is.
Well, the reason this show is the way it is because it was originally supposed to be a movie.
Really?
Yeah, it was actually announced as a movie. Um, and then they were like, yeah, no, we're not going to do this. Y'all can make this a show or whatever.
So wait, they were actually going to introduce the Inhumans into the MCU, like not as
Into
just a
main
weird TV show.
Well, originally it seemed like the plan was to have the TV shows be more intertwined with the movies, but then they decided not to go that route. Um, and then everything happened in Phase 4 where they actually started having the shows be more intertwined with the movies. So, yeah, that's great.
Okay.
But yeah, this show was originally going to be a movie, and then that movie was scrapped, and they took the plot of it and basically made this TV show, which kind of explains why the plot doesn't really work. The plot kind of sucks. I'm sorry, like
Yeah.
Maximus is not a good villain. He's just another generic I want to be king because power, and I'm going to convince the people to support me by telling them the things that they want to hear.
And then, I mean, our main character isn't even that likable either.
I mean, it depends on who you consider the main character to be. If you consider the main character to be Black Bolt, yeah, I mean, there's not much there to like because he doesn't talk.
I don't know. Like,
I,
for the son, he seems rather aggressive. Which, I mean, I guess it makes sense for, his kingdom just got taken. Okay, if I'm being honest, I still have no idea who's, like, the right person in all of this. Like, yeah,
I,
the Maxi, he was terrible at being a villain, but also just as a person in general, but, like, some of the points were pointed out by the show that he was right about. So I don't
yeah,
know.
there were some things he was right about for sure. But like, I don't know, if you want to have an MCU story where the villain has some good points but is ultimately like wrong and the hero also has to learn, I feel like Black Panther does this better.
I don't even know if our main hero learned anything.
I mean, I think he did. I think Black Bolt and Medusa both learned that, like, yeah, the people have some valid points. I'm not even going to say Maximus; it's the people. Um, and yeah, that they should embrace change. It's a shame we don't get to see any of that, or is it? I don't know. I don't know if I would want to watch more Inhumans. Uh,
Yeah, you don't. But there's some other bits about this as well.
the fact that
Like,
they in sorry, I was just gonna say the fact that they included a shitty cover of Paint It Black. I'm
no, I
sorry.
was gonna be saying, the show is just a little bit airy. It's
We'll
like
get to that
it
in a
just has
minute.
a bunch of, I don't want to call it filler, but you know what I mean?
we'll get to the we'll get to that in a minute. I want to rant on this Paint It Black
I
cover
mean, it's just a
because
cover.
like it's a trend I'm seeing a lot in like movies and junk where it's like, oh yeah, let's grab people's attention in the trailer with some shitty cover of a popular song. Um, and I'm just like, here, okay, yeah, we have a shitty cover of Paint It Black. The Rolling Stones did it right. A lot of people like have problems with the cover of I believe it was Numb in the Alita Battle Angel trailer. Um, I'm okay with the cover, but like I get the argument. Same for Everybody Wants to Rule the World in the Catching Fire trailer, and I'm just like, yeah, this is a trend that kind of needs to die. Please.
I don't know why we're suddenly going into trailers now.
I imagine Paint It Black was probably used in the Inhumans trailer. I wouldn't be surprised considering it was in what, like episode 2, 1 or 2, something like that.
I mean, didn't they have like another song in episode 1?
Probably. I don't remember what it was. Or if it was something I probably didn't recognize.
Ah.
But yeah,
No, it's, I don't think I recognized it, but I know it wasn't originally by Marvel.
yeah, well, or whoever they got to sing it.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, but see, okay, back to your point about like the filler shit. I mean, I feel like that's just a direct result of it being a TV show that was like the remains of a scrapped movie.
Like, you could have. Yeah, you definitely could have told this in an hour 30 minutes, maybe hour 45.
Yeah, I feel like you can maybe do 2 hours. I feel like a 2 hour movie of this would be justified, but like how they handled this just wasn't great. Most of the character, like, okay, something believe I mentioned to you, or I mentioned it to someone else, uh, was that they did this whole coup thing, and like they have Maximus cut off all of Medusa's hair long before they give you any chance to start caring about Medusa. And I'm just like, okay,
Yeah.
yeah, they're cutting off her hair, big deal. And it's like they send off this character named Triton to Earth, and he dies in air quotes, and you don't care about him because they haven't given you a chance to.
I mean,
And I don't know.
I
It's like
feel like,
stop doing.
my god.
How do I phrase this? We just covered the Dragon Prince, and they give you enough time to care about the king in that show before they kill him. And even though he dies very early on in the season, they show you scenes like they show you how he interacts with his stepson and how he interacts with like our main villain of at least the first few seasons, Viren. And it's like, yeah, they don't show his relationship with his actual son, but it's far more impactful. It tells us more about the character to show his interactions with his stepson, at least in my opinion. But
But here's the thing. I don't. Personally, I don't think that's what they were going for. They weren't going for a. Please feel sympathetic about the character that we just made. Is ROC is dying. It's more
I feel like,
about the characters around them reaction, especially with the character of the the one that supposedly died that we see later in the season. It's about how the king responds, how Maximus responds to this tragedy.
okay, see, like that's fair enough. But when it comes to Medusa, they absolutely wanted you to care because like they made this whole scene like slow and have like really sad music playing, and I'm just like, I don't care.
I mean, I will like somewhat justify by the same thing of how much Maximus is willing to go, but that's just more of that's I feel like that's more with what he does to like the council members and everyone else.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know. It's weird to me. But like okay, so a lot of these characters they end up uh on Earth. And at some point someone on Earth is talking about Black Bolt and like they mention imagine what this guy could do if he yelled. And I'm sorry, writers of this show, are you familiar with the concept of Chekhov's gun? Because I don't think you are. Lily, are you familiar with this concept?
Yes, I am. I'm pretty sure I mentioned it in a few of our podcast episodes.
All right. So for those of you listening, Chekhov's gun is the concept. It's kind of a rule in writing where if you introduce something into the story, you have to actually use it in some way that's meaningful. Otherwise, don't introduce it. They introduce the concept of what if this guy yelled, and then he never does it.
Didn't he yell at like the end of the series?
Nah, he just like talked at a reasonable volume. He was like, "Goodbye, brother."
Hmm.
That's it. I was really hoping he would yell, but he didn't.
I don't know.
But
That's my
anyway,
response.
I enjoyed a couple of things in this show. I felt like Karnak was a good character, because like the thing with him was like his power like always let him see the outcomes of his decisions, and like he became extremely dependent on it. And I thought it was a cool idea to strip him of his ability to rely on his power so that he has to learn to take risks. I felt like that was a cool concept and some at least functional character development.
Who was the other person that was like basically his foil?
Uh, Gorgon.
I liked Gorgon.
Gorgon is a. They did some weird shit with Gorgon towards the end of this season,
I
where like they
liked
kill.
Gorgon,
Yeah, they went and killed him off, and then they brought him back to life. But he was like
but not really.
animalist. Yeah, like he was like kind of like animalistic, and they don't really solve that, and I don't think they ever will. I'm curious if the like big threat that they kept talking about. I'm curious if that shows up in Agents of Shield later, because like Agents of
Hmm.
Shield kind of paid off what was going on with like Agent Carter and like the shit that never got resolved in that show, because it got canceled. Agents of Shield kind of paid all that off with I believe it was season 3, might have been season 4, can't remember. Either way, whatever happened with whatever big threat this is, we recording don't know. I would assume that if someone has seen the rest of Agents of Shield, they know, but we haven't seen the rest of it. So I don't know. Um,
Yeah, our Agents of Shield knowledge is pretty limited.
yeah, I mean we've only seen through season 4, and I know a couple of things about later seasons, but not that much.
Maybe
Um,
you won't share them with me.
yeah, in one particular thing I'm not sharing that I know you're gonna love. But anyway, I don't know. It's just this show. I feel like it had a lot of potential, but
It had a
it
lot
should
of
have been a
potential
movie.
as a movie.
Yeah, like it had a lot of potential, but that potential should have been spent on a movie instead of a show. And that's just kind of where it is. I also really liked Crystal. Crystal was the only other thing that was interesting to me because, like, I don't know, she's the queen's sister, I believe, which was something, I guess. Uh, I'm very, very confused as to why, out of all the Inhumans to exist ever within these shows, they chose Black Bolt to be the first one to return in modern MCU. I mean, granted, it's a variant of Black Bolt, and he died, but I mean, come on, whatever. At least the costume was better.
I like that giant. I want that giant dog to return.
Lockjaw, I don't know. I think that would be cool. Um,
So wait, where
I feel like if
can
he
Lockjaw
returns,
teleport to?
I'm not too familiar with his powers,
Because
so
like, could he
I'll have
just
to
like,
look later and talk to you about it.
could he just like teleport outside the timeline?
I'm not. I'm gonna be real. I don't think that's possible, but I guess we'll find out. But
Yeah,
yeah,
imagine next season of Loki, Lockjaw just randomly appears.
I don't think that's gonna happen.
I can still have my dreams, okay?
I want Daisy to come back before anyone else, but they're gonna be doing like more Daredevil shit
I want
before that.
Daisy writing on Lockjaw.
That's never happening.
Oh, come on. You know that those two would be a great duo and should happen.
No. I Lily, what the hell?
What?
That's just a visual. I don't know if I like that visual.
You do like that visual because it would be great.
I'm not sure that I do, Lily. But anyway, yeah, I
Avery
don't know.
can't see the good stuff.
Just whatever. Luis was kind of good, but I mean, I find it a little weird that we already had another character named Luis in Ant-Man. Granted, it's spelled differently, and that Luis is a man. Uh, but I mean, yeah, like that's a whole thing. And then we have Dave. Just Dave. Nothing special about him. Crystal kind of falls in love with him. That's about it.
Oh, and we see his ex that called the police.
Yeah. I thought it was funny how, like, we had reached the point in the MCU where you could tell somebody you're an alien from the moon and they would be like, yeah, okay.
Uh, what does this MCU world come to?
I mean, to be fair, they have, like, literal Hulks running around. So,
I also like how, like, one of the characters was like, I'm sorry. Oh, wait. This had to have taken place after, Captain America Civil War. Because someone mentioned, like, briefly mentioned, getting, like, list. I forgot what that word was.
the Sokovia Accords.
Yeah.
I don't
Well,
recall a
some
mention of this. I don't recall a mention of the Sokovia Accords in this season, but I'm not gonna say it wasn't there.
no one mentioned it by name, but someone, I think it was like that vet girl when she was saying, like when the Inhuman was saying that her he has to find her family. Something about that they should all be like listed or something. What? I cannot remember that word, or if there's even a word. Signed up, whatever.
Registered.
Yeah, I don't know if that's the word I was looking for, but it's close enough.
But yeah, I don't know. Like this show, bleh. This show's kind of bad overall. I feel like the villain's not intimidating. Our heroes aren't that compelling. Um, yeah, like really, that's about it. I don't really know what more to say about it.
Um, the
I guess we
plot wasn't
can.
that okay. Actually, I do want to have something to say. Why the fuck are the Inhumans like? We start learning about Inhumans and Agents of Shield, and then suddenly they're on the moon.
I mean, they talked about it like being a thing where like a group of Inhumans left Earth and went to the moon like thousands of years ago, and those that were left behind, like their genetic link back to the Kree got weaker, and that's why these Inhumans are more powerful than the ones we've seen in Agents of Shield. But like, they absolutely talked about it.
I know they talked about it. I just still find it weird.
I mean, I kind of knew this was coming. I feel like
Mm,
this was a thing in the comics, uh, for one.
makes sense.
But yeah, the Inhuman royal family. Some people have said that they feel like these are the only Inhumans that they're ever going to bring back, and I hope that's wrong because I would love to see Daisy again, um, and Yo-Yo as well.
Yeah. I mean, I'd like to see all the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. cast.
Yeah, but we'll see. You want to get into the critic ratings?
Oh, yeah, we're finally able to do that now. So, IMDb gives us a 4.9 out of 10. Rotten Tomatoes gives us 11%. And 62% of Google users like this movie.
You mean show?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. God. I feel like I'm gonna give this a 5.2.
I
There's
was
really not much
literally
here.
just thinking that.
Yeah,
I
like
was,
there's really not much here to like for me. It's
yeah.
better than Thor: The Dark World. It's probably I'm not sure how I feel about it compared to The Incredible Hulk, honestly.
And I don't know how I feel about this, but its length should always be considered when talking about it. Because I just think it's too long for what it is.
So yeah, what's your rating?
Yeah, it's 5.2.
All right. Well then, I guess that's everything. So yeah, you can join us next week for our free movie of the month for August. We don't know what it is yet. And Avengers: Infinity War, and next month for Agents of Shield season 5. We are getting so close to finishing that show, and then we can finally start on the Defenders saga. But yeah, until next time, I've been Avery. That's been Lily. We will be seeing you.